Today I'm making some drawers with locking rabbets. I'm going to use the quarter method. Stick with me and I'll show you how we're going to do it. Today I'm going to make me a couple drawers that'll fit right in here, and it's the method I want to show you. I've already got the bottom. Everything's out of 1/2-inch plywood, and I got the sides and the front and the bottom on the 2 drawers. I want to fit here. It's just a tick wider, and this one's, it's about a 1/4 inch difference. However, the method I'm using, I'll be able to set my table saw up to the quarter method, or I think it's more accurate half, because what you're doing, you're taking the material and doing half of the material, which y'all know plywood ain't hardly half, it's just under, probably what, 12 millimeter or something like that. But I'm going to be able to set the table saw up to cut both boxes, and they're a little difference in size, but that's not going to make any difference. So I'm going to be using a dado stack. My fence extension, which it's easy to set up. Well, I got plenty of surface right here to make my cuts. So the quarter method is theoretically that it's going to be a little less. It is 12 millimeter stuff. So this is set for half the thickness of your material. It's sticking up above the deck, half the thickness of your material. And we're going to take the fence, and this right here will be half the thickness. In other words, the width of the dado stack, the height, and the distance to the fence will be exactly the same. So the height of the blade is 6.1. I hope y'all can see that. So the distance from the blade to the fence, 6.1 millimeter. Okay, I made a test cut on the width of the dado stack. I got 6.1 there as well. So I have got some offcuts right here that come from these pieces here, so it would be a good test because of the exact thickness and everything. So let's cut these test pieces and just see how well they fit together. With the quarter, here it's 0.61, no, 6.1, 6.1, 6.1. All right, let's cut this thing. So we got our groove cut there. That's smooth right there, but it's just well, that's not bad. That's actually not bad at all. See if we can get a look at the end. Yeah, it's both ends bottoming out. That's it right there. Yeah. So that is actually what we're looking for right there. So now I'm going to show you how we're actually going to make these cuts on the actual drawer and how they're going to fit together. So I have the 2 drawers right here. They're a little different in size, but this operation here, that don't matter. It could be a lot longer or a lot wider. However long as, well, they could be taller. as long as you're working off the bottom every time. Let the bottom of the box be your reference, and then it wouldn't matter if it's taller and bigger. That's the beauty part about this method. You get a locking rabbet right there. It'll lock into the sides for when you pull the drawer open, it's actually pulling against this locking rabbet. So the sides will get grooves up here. The front and back on the outside will get a groove cut here. Well, dado, locking rabbet joint. So, but off the bottom, all the way around, it gets the same groove that we use right here for the bottom to attach to, and we'll make a rebate rabbet on it to fit the groove in the bottom. That's what we're going to do now, and it should be clear enough to you here in just a minute. If I remember right, if the grain's running this way, if it's running with the grain, it's a groove. If it's going across the grains, a dado. I think that's right. Not 100% sure. However, referring to our test piece, when it's on the end like this, it's called a rabbet, or some people call them rebates. But that's what we're cutting here. We're going to do the groove to match the bottom. Then we're going to cut the rebates that will go into this piece right here. It'll be kind of hard to do with one hand, but anyway, it fits like that. So what we're going to do now, we'll go ahead and cut the rebates right here on the end pieces. And like I say, all this doesn't matter how big or tall it is, provided you work off the bottom every time. That's the beauty part about this. For instance, if you had 50 drawers to do, all different sizes, this is the method. Because once you get it set up, it is spitting through in a hurry. All right. So you got the groove on the inside. It's going to hold the bottom. We're going to cut that bottom here in a second. So this is the way it goes together. It should self-squaring. Yeah. Now we're going to cut the bottoms. This might be where you could use a 1/4-inch sheet of plywood for the bottom. Would work just fine. This step here would not be needed. However, I was going to show you in case you needed it like it's a bigger drawer, you'd probably want 1/2 inch. So I'm going to show you now just exactly, it's the same setup. We're just going to go around, put a rebate or rabbet all the way around both of these. So here we go. All right, now that we got the rabbet cut all the way around, if you remember, we've cut the sides and cut the front and back and the bottom, and we've not moved anything. The settings has been the same. And this will work. This is, like I say, we call it 1/2 inch. It's not quite, but it's dead on 12 millimeter. And this is the first time I used millimeters to set everything up, and it worked just fine. It helped for this to be 12. You just divide by 2 and go on. But if you remember, it was 12.2. I set everything up half, 6.1. So what we're going to do now, we will, I think it's better to yeah, right here. We'll start with the sides, and we'll put the ends on it. A little snug fit. It's a little more snug than I like it. Oop, that's the wrong one. But I think we'll be fine. So you'll have to end right here where it goes straight in. When it's a tight fit, it makes it a little bit more tougher. But it wasn't that bad. And actually, that thing should be, yes, dead on square. This thing kind of helps square itself if you got all the, see the sides of the drawer, see the back of the drawer, you got your holes right there. They won't ever be seen, and we're gonna put a drawer front on this, them holes will be covered up. So this is actually a good way to do a bunch of drawers. That's actually, this thing could be taller than this one. It could, but they're different in the width, about that much difference. They could be a lot. I mean, you can do a 4-inch drawer, 6-inch drawer, or 12-inch drawer, and it could be 4 inches tall, 2 inches tall, provided you make sure you work everything off the bottom. And this will work perfectly for any size drawers. This is what makes it handy. You can batch out a lot of drawers that could be different sizes pretty quick. See what happens, you lock it in here so the drawer will come this way, and it's pulling against that. This way it tries to pull it apart. Here, that's one advantage of this design. It locks together for when you, over the years of opening and closing, it locks itself right here and here. That is shadows right there. You believe that? Yeah, see there? Look like different woods. I went ahead and glued it up. There is something, what I said about any size is correct in one way. The only caveat is it's all got to be made out of the 12 millimeter. If the thickness of the wall changes, the whole setup changes. So these things can be any size, provided we've got this, well, 1/2 inch plywood, but it was actually 12 millimeter. So it could be 1 foot by 3 inches long, slender, 4 inches tall. If it's made out of the same material, 12 millimeter, this setup will work. So it could be as tall as you need to be, wide and long. There's no restriction, provided you're coming off the bottom, provided it's 12 millimeter. They got to be that, because when the thickness change, the whole setup, in other words, if you went to 3/4 inch stuff, now it will be 3/8, 3/8, and 3/8 would be your 3 measurements. It all hinges on the thickness of your material. Here it was 12.2. I set everything up on 6.1 and it worked perfectly. I went ahead and cut me a finger hole. I'm gonna put me a front on it. This is just a shop furniture. It's all it is for my miter saw, where I have some stuff nearby for the miter saw and the table saw, that area. So I hope this helps. What they call quarter, if you put it in a search, and this is what it'll come up with. But to me, I think it's closer to being half, which half is half of the thickness of your material. The dado stack, the height of the blade, and the fence. That's the gap between the blade and the fence. Half. So we're gonna call it quarter. That's what everybody does, but me and you know this is half. So I hope this helps, and appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Half. I put that in the search, half. I'm gonna go do that and just see what comes up.